All right, free radicals of all shapes, sizes, colors, denominations, orientations, educations, and yes, even party affiliations. Aloha from Florida. I'm Dave. I'm the radical independent. I'm the guy, I guess, who, according to some folks on Twitter, should just go away because I used to support Trump. I voted for Trump. I've been very forthcoming. It takes actual courage to admit that you voted for somebody like Trump and then tell the world that you made a mistake. And I've done that over and over again. But I wanna say something, and I think it's important, and I want you to listen to this. All right. And by the way, prior video is still demonetized. 1,800 views. For me, that's pretty good. No money to show for it today. Because it has to do with peace. Okay, I never thought I would see this in the country. And by the way, one of the reasons I supported Trump was because of hoping that we would get out of some of these conflicts that we're in. Of course, the better vote was Jill Stein. I didn't vote for Jill Stein. I should have voted for Jill Stein. I've said that now on numerous occasions. So, this contrarian dude, if you're out there, I don't know what else you want me to say. Attacking me or attacking my character or saying that I'm a fraud. And I mean to direct it at anyone who's out there who does vote shaming, because vote shaming here's the deal. It's not going to get you any converts to your side. All right. One of the reasons I like Tulsi Gabbard so much is because she uses aloha. All right. She believes in paying or giving respect to people. And if you're a peace-loving American and you call someone else a fraud, that shows me that you're really not a peace-loving American. Because you can't even conduct yourself peacefully with people around you. And you have to insult them and insult their character. Look, my greatest achievement as a human being is I am the father of 4 children. And I'm married and I'm happily married, and life is pretty good in that regard, and I can't imagine a higher achievement just having a family and doing the best I can. I see my country as going in a very bad direction, and these airstrikes that Trump has basically initiated, it shows a real departure from the guy who ran for president, who said that we need to get out of these quagmires and we need to not do this sort of thing, and all kinds of justification running forward. Now, I want to play a little clip to show you how dismissive this guy Brian Kilmeade is, and this reminds me a lot of when CNN went to a commercial break when Tulsi Gabbard was about to tee off on Elizabeth Warren. It's very similar to me, and then I'm going to play part of Tulsi's response. I'm going to back this up, hopefully get to the right spot, and then we'll listen to it here. Here's Brian Kilmeade. Now, they had just asked Tulsi kind of a nice sort of departure softball question, and she was answering, but then she was trying to get into something that was a little bit more important, and the look on Kilmeade's face, like, get out of here, you're just, you're an insignificant candidate. You can just see the look on the dude's face. He is such a partisan neocon who, is just all about war all the time. And it's sad that these people can't even see it. They can't, they're too blind.
Such cold in my life. It was a wonderful way to usher in the new year. I had a wetsuit on that day, and so it was just my face that was exposed, that was cold. But the day before, just briefly, I want to share, I joined a family who have lost two of they lost their 2 oldest sons to the opioid crisis.
Yeah, that's definitely important. Thanks so much, Congressman Tulsi.
That's definitely important. Harry, get off my screen. We got a hard break coming up. Of course, we gotta pay the bills. We gotta have the opioid companies pay the bills. This is Tulsi Gabbard on this issue. A lot of people want to know where she stands. Well, again, at least give Fox credit for having her on to express this opinion.
We know that you were having a town hall there in New Hampshire last night when this news broke. What do you make of the president's order to take out Soleimani?
This was very clearly an act of war by this president without any kind of authorization or declaration of war from Congress, clearly violating the Constitution. It further escalates this tit for tat that's going on and on and on, will elicit a very serious response from Iran and pushing us deeper and deeper into this quagmire. And it really begs the question, for what? What are we trying to accomplish? What is the end state and the goal here? Look, I've said for a long time that going to war with Iran would make the war in Iraq and even Afghanistan look like a picnic. It will be far more costly and devastating in American lives and in taxpayer dollars. And I don't believe the American people want to go to war with Iran. They understand how serious this is.
Congresswoman, how do you justify it when you look at the statistics? The State Department says 70% of all U.S. deaths in Iraq from 2003 to 2011 were orchestrated by Soleimani. I mean, when they attack our embassy, are we supposed to just stand by and let the Iranian-backed militias invade our territory and possibly kill Americans?
Yeah, no, look, there is no question about how evil this guy is. No one should shed a single tear for his death. But that's not really the question here. The real question is, what are we trying to accomplish here in this country, and where will this decision that this president made to escalate these tensions and this crisis and commit this act of war without congressional authorization, it will lead us to an outcome that actually further undermines our national security and needlessly sends more of our troops into harm's way. You know, Trump talked a lot in his campaign for the presidency, and even since he's been in office, about how he wants to end forever wars. But his actions tell a different story. Just since May of last year alone, May of 2019 alone, we've seen more than 15,000 U.S. troops, additional U.S. troops, being deployed across the Middle East. All of these actions pushing us closer and closer to this war with Iran. And this step that he just took last night seriously escalated the situation.
So when you look at their influence in Iran, when you look at in Syria, when you look at Iran's influence in Lebanon, when you look at Iran's influence in Iraq, when you look at their influence throughout the region, and now their pursuit, covert and overt, of a nuclear weapon, are you comfortable with us just pulling back and watching, just sitting in the stands and saying, pass the popcorn?
What? Pass the popcorn? Wow. Are you comfortable with us not being the world's police? Are you comfortable with us sending more soldiers to die for nothing? You know, there is a part of me that says, you know what? Just let this, if this is going to burn, let it burn over there. Let it burn over there. I'm not going to get all philosophical and act like I'm on some moral horse that we need to go over there and do some, I don't know, what are we going to do over there? Are we going to change the way these people think? Why did they come over here and knock down our buildings? Did we not provoke them to do that? If we were minding our own business and we weren't the occupiers that we are, and nobody wants to talk about that. That's why, again, you'll never have a real 9/11 commission. You'll have it, but the information is being withheld. We don't know anything. So let's pick up here after Brian Kilmeade talks about, we're just going to sit back and eat popcorn and watch the disaster. We're just going to pull back. Yeah, we are just going to pull back. Why do we have to be there? Why do we have to keep going there? There are Americans here in this country. You know, Trump, America first, right? Remember America first? There's no America first. It's our military-industrial complex first.
Yeah, no, I think we need to figure out why and how we've gotten to this point where Iran has a much greater level of influence and presence in Iraq and Syria, as you mentioned. It was because of our regime change wars in Iraq and Libya and Syria that we've seen these countries turn, Iraq and Syria especially, turn more towards Iran for help and for assistance, strengthening their partnerships and allowing for Iran to gain far greater influence and presence in many different respects in these countries.
Mm-hmm. See, they don't understand this. They literally don't understand this. All they understand is they're going to have a military general on and they're going to talk strategy. And they're going to talk on a different plane. They're going to talk up here about the whole tactical thing where Tulsi Gabbard's saying, nah, even, and she called him out. She said Trump didn't run on this stuff. And they ignore it. They ignore it because, you know, that's the aspect of Trump that a lot of Republicans and neocons just couldn't take. That he was talking about not doing these things. Now, again, why should I believe a charlatan, right? That's the new line against me. You believe this charlatan? Well, you had two charlatans. You had Hillary, you had Trump. Yeah, I know, you had Jill Stein. Again, I've said it, and I'll keep saying it. I should have voted for Stein. At least, you know, I could lie to people. Say, oh, I didn't vote at all. Right? I didn't vote for Trump. I abstained. I voted for Gary Johnson. I was more of a libertarian. I like Gary Johnson. I thought he was a neo-lib, so I didn't vote for him. He didn't know anything about foreign policy, so I said, you kind of have to know about foreign policy. You know, Aleppo, you don't know where Aleppo is or what's going on there, then, you know, maybe you shouldn't be president. And I think that was the end of his campaign, although he did get more votes, I think, than Jill Stein did. All right? Look, can we at least get past the idea that, you know, shaming someone for their votes, their prior votes, or their prior ideas about politics, shaming them is not an effective way to get them to come to your side. Can we just do that, please? Pretty please? And if you don't like me, you don't have to watch me, okay? If I'm too long-winded, if I'm stream of consciousness, if I don't make sense to you, if I'm not your thing, go find someone who is. Go watch Kyle Kalinske. Watch Jimmy Dore. Watch the people that really know what they're doing. Because honestly, I got into this because Tulsi Gabbard, she was different. She's still different. And by the way, this is the moment. This is a flashpoint for her campaign. That is really the crux of this video. That she's been saying this stuff all along. Now, you can do one of two things. You can put your head in the sand and be Ben Shapiro and talk about how evil this guy is and how we had to do this and that and da-da-da-da-da. And again, America has to roam the earth taking care of bad guys all over the world who threaten our people, but not in this country, over there, because we're occupying over there and we're instigating over there. Is it just that they're evil, like just blind evil, or do you think maybe some of them are being provoked? I'm thinking it's the second one. Because again, we heard during 9/11 that it was just pure evil, but yeah, there's a small, narrow sliver of ideology. And by the way, we funded that ideology in Saudi Arabia. Nobody wants to talk about it. Nobody wants to understand that we end up funding terrorists. Okay, our money. I did a video over on Rockfin where I talked about how we're funding terrorists. Directly and indirectly, how we end up funding them. And it would be the biggest story of the year if it were actually being reported and channels like this had the guts to report. They don't, because they're owned. This particular channel is owned by a neoconservative or a neoliberal, depending on how you want to look at it. But they take this viewpoint that war is necessary and we have to keep going. And it's not yes or no. It's just what strategy we're going to use. That's what Kilmeade cares about. What strategy? He's going to have a general on after, and they're going to laugh about Tulsi Gabbard, and then they're going to talk about how this was such an amazing surgical strike, and America should be proud, and great, this is fantastic. And what do we, and again, Tulsi Gabbard is saying, okay, now what though? Now this means what? We just sent, 750 troops over there? And we're going to send more. Now, should we all just be like, hey, it's not us. These are volunteer. This is an all-volunteer military. They volunteer to put their lives on the line. But some of us think that a country that would be willing to send these people on a fool's errand, okay, because that's what it is. It's not, you could say, oh, it's protecting freedom. Where is it protecting freedom? Our freedom isn't threatened by these people over on that side of the globe. Again, if a missile is launched and it's heading toward the United States of America, that would be an imminent threat. And you know how we're provoking that kind of stuff? Because we just won't leave these countries alone. We won't trade with them properly. We sanction them so it gets to the point where their economies don't function. And by the way, that never affects the government. It affects the people down below, the little people, the peasants, the people who are, lower class, where they can't get food or water. And I don't mean that in a negative way. I'm just saying it never affects. It's same here in the United States. Because we've got this huge war budget, we can't even address homelessness. We can't address the violence in the inner cities. There's so many things that we can't do. We can't forgive student loans. We can't, guarantee some form of health care to people who can't afford it. We can't even do that. So I'm going to wrap this up. There's a little venting that I did in this video, and who knows, this is probably going to get demonetized again here on YouTube. I really need folks today to think about if you've got $1 or $2 for this channel, because my revenue is tanking. They're pulling ads off of this channel. They're pulling ads. This is what they do at this time of year. Both my channels. I did a video over on Rockfin, and that's all cryptocurrency. I'm not going to be able to keep doing videos, and I'm just not. It's not going to be financially feasible to just keep doing this. I'm going to have to either concentrate on the music aspect of what I do, or maybe even just do something else with my time. So, and it's just a reality. I want to continue to be here for everybody. And some of you like this channel, despite what I heard today. It is discouraging when, you get vote shamed, and I'm sorry. I've said it 100 times. And the reason I think people came over here was I had a different perspective. And now I'm firmly on the side of, Tulsi Gabbard, Jill Stein, maybe a little Bernie in there, Green Party. I've mentioned all these things. And I don't know who else is mentioning like the Green Party right now. Nobody is, okay? And I'll continue to talk about it because we need to rebuild our political system, and we have to start from the ground up. So Tulsi Gabbard, again, a great response. She's been on this from, back in May, where she put out a video about this, where they were, saber rattling back then. They finally pulled the trigger because it's 2020, and this is how you get reelected in America in the year 2020. You start a war. Awesome, huh? All right, I'm done. See you all soon.